Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, the 9th of October. Jesus and epigenetics. Something I came across yesterday in a video. Not Jesus and epigenetics, but epigenetics. I've connected those dots. I am about to connect those dots. Now, epigenetics says that we are not dominated by our genes, but that it is consciousness that is directing our genes. Yeah? So that we are, in a way, or we could be, the masters of our own biology. Yeah? So we are, and there is actually then the fundamental difference between us and a computer. Whereas a computer is absolutely, can only function by what is being built into it, yeah? And, the program that has been given. A computer has no other way than to do what has been given. Whereas we have been given a set of genes and stuff like that, but there's many possibilities in those genes. One gene can, as far as I understand it, produce different proteins for the body. So there is a choice, and we can be the masters of that choice. So I would say it's probably not indefinite, but it is a great choice. So that is basically epigenetics, and in that we vary. We are absolutely different from a computer. We have a choice. Choices. So that's the first thing. Now, I want to talk again about Jesus said he came to save the Jews. No, one thing before that, and that is we say we're going through an evolution. Now, in nature, when those changes occur, usually driven by, again, outside influences, a change in the environment would drive evolution. Now, again, the animals obviously don't consciously choose what is changing. It naturally occurs. A change occurs in them. And usually an evolutionary change is something that would adapt you to the new changed environment. Therefore, it will ensure your survival. That is what evolutionary change is trying to do. It is to ensure your survival in a new environment. So nature is good. Nature is trying to look after its forms. It's just little consciousnesses that are living in this world, and it's trying to prepare those consciousnesses for, if you say everything is consciousness, yeah. It's not just the body, it's consciousness. It's trying to prepare them to create changes in them that would mean they can survive in a new environment. Right, okay. So Jesus said he came to change the Jews. As I said before, and said many times, this was purely a Jewish problem. It was a Jewish problem because of Yahweh. Yahweh was their God. Yeah, they're a powerful one that ruled over them. Let's try as if. Let's try as if that was reality. That actually happened. Yeah? So let's play this game as if. Especially Bible-believing Christians, try to actually believe what that text said. Right. So now, Jesus is trying to prepare the Jews for the return of God, for the return of their God. Now, as I said before, Elohim are many gods. They all have the intention to subdue nature and to rule over over it, and to subdue nature and to have dominion over this world. In that they are all the same. I was thinking just few days back, you could actually apply the Hermetic principle of polarity to the Elohim. They're essentially the same thing, varying only by degrees. But Yahweh was a violent one. Was definitely a violent one. Again, I refer you to the text or to that video of Mauro Bellinos that I left the link for, I think 2 videos back. You'll find it there. Yeah, definitely a violent one. So if Jesus was actually preparing the bride, so to speak, for the return of the gods, and then trying to create a change in the people that would be beneficial to their survival. Yeah, it is the meek that will inherit the earth. Yeah? Do as you're told. Don't think for yourself. Yeah, don't just do as you're told when you're being told to do it. And that way you will live. And yeah, in a way, if you do that long enough, you become that. Now, as I said, it was a Jewish thing at the start. Yahweh was, the violent God was in that region, was the God of that region. The world was divided into regions. See the World Economic Forum. Yeah, it just seems like history is about to repeat itself. It really does seem that way. And then really saying that this was history, the Bible, then it's about to repeat itself. And Jesus is trying to make its bride ready for the coming of their God. Yeah? Become the meek creature that will not speak back, because it will ensure your survival. So again, it is actually working an evolution, because naturally a human being is actually not that. We're not that. I'm not saying we're violent, but we're definitely argumentative. You know? We all have a knowledge, we all have a perception. We quite often stand up for what we think is right. We do. That is actually naturally us. And we don't always agree even with one another. You know, and well, in human society that should actually be fine. Just wait a minute, Mosi, I'm nearly finished. So in human society, that should be fine, that should be allowed to have those arguments as long as they're not violent. Yeah, so in our society that should actually function. It doesn't anymore at the moment, because we are being made to be meek. Yeah, we're being told to give your argument to somebody else is hurtful and it's evil and you shouldn't do it. It's an act of violence. So we are actually being made meek. Yeah, don't speak, don't do it. And if you don't do it out of compassion, so to speak, for somebody else, because, oh no, you don't want to hurt them, well, then the fear of God will be put into you by what are the powerful ones now, authority. But as I said, if you believe on the Bible, especially the book of the Revelation, that something is coming, so then there is another dimension to this story and another aspect of it. And that is how you should use the word dimension, as in there's another aspect to this that people might not see right now. Please don't do that. Please. Yeah, really, the bride is being prepared. Now the problem is, as I said before, it was a Jewish problem. It was Yahweh that was the violent one. I mean, it is not like the others had other intentions, but they weren't, they had different ways of getting what they want. As I said, they are essentially the same, varying only by degrees. So he was preparing the people for the return of Yahweh. As I said, this thing has gone global. Yeah? And yeah, this idea of creating a person. And again, it's what I said, most spiritual teachings, that is what they are set to do. They are to create a person. The alchemist changing lead into gold. That is not talking about physical metals, that's talking about a person, what is based in a person being changed into gold. Now here, in Jesus' case again, what would be gold in a person is keep your mouth shut. Say nothing. Yeah? Because the ground will open beneath your feet and you're going to get killed if you do. Yeah? Evolve into a meat person because the environment is about to change and this is the best way for you to survive. I want to give you Matthew 10. Verse 14. So he says, go and preach the gospel. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear you words, when you depart out of that house or city, shake off the dust off your feet. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of the judgment than for that city. So he said, listen to what I'm saying, or it would have been more tolerable in Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, let's remind ourselves that's talking about two cities that were completely incinerated. Yeah? So it's going to be worse than that for you. And so do as I tell you, or, receive what I'm saying gladly, joyfully, accept it, or it will be worse for you than it was in Sodom and Gomorrah. And the followers of gentle, compassionate Jesus, what's coming out of his mouth there? A blessed promise? I don't think so. Now, and here's the last thing, and we're going to the Hermetic principle, of course, and effect. Yeah? The bride is being made ready to receive her husband. The bride is being made meek, willing, submissive to receive her husband. What would happen? Cause and effect. What would happen if the bride would not become meek and submissive? Would the husband dare to come? There's the thing. See, again, it's another thing where, don't, please, where David Icke is talking about the spider in the web, and I always thought that was such a great example. Because the way a male spider mates is they tap the female, they put her into a trance. Because otherwise the female would be quite dangerous to them. They might even get eaten by it. So the male spider puts the female into a trance in order to mate. So here comes, what if the female does not go into a trance? would the male spider still dare to go near her? So here's the whole thing, yeah, with the teaching of Jesus. This idea of meekness and submissiveness and do as you're told and don't think for yourself and, just suppress your own knowing, yourself, your knowledge of good and bad. There is a change coming, that's what he says. Yeah? You have to evolve from the argumentative being that is standing in its own truth into something that is meek and submissive in order to survive. That way you will be saved. And then the kingdom will come. Yeah? So is it inevitable that the kingdom comes? Or is it through our action, through making ourselves ready, that is bringing the kingdom about? Cause and effect. One way or another, if it is inevitable that the kingdom comes, I still don't think that just submitting to their will and denying our own knowledge and what we are is the way forward. And as I said, epigenetics, creating a change, can that change become permanent? I mean, what happened in the New Testament with Jesus himself would suggest that change can become permanent. You can become that person. Again, I keep asking, is that what you want to be when you grow up? A slave. A mindless slave. Well, I would say this teaching is working, looking at this world right now, and how many of the masses are just there with their head down and saying, well, I'll say nothing, I'll just get on with it. Whoever or whatever is in power, I'll just say nothing, and I'll take what I can get, as long as I survive. There is actually the attitude in this world already. It's here. And I would say the bride is nearly ready. Well, is that change permanent, or have we just suppressed some spiritual genes there that can be reactivated? And if they can, I think it's time we did. Because I really think in preparing ourselves for the change, we are creating the change, or we are allowing the change to happen. And it's not good. The coming of the kingdom is not good. And whether that takes another, as I said, another dimension, another aspect, as there are otherworldly beings that we've thrown into this mix, or if it's just our own human homegrown megalomaniacs. It actually makes not much difference. Either way, they should not have their way. And for them not to have their way, we need to wake up. So, wake up. Anyway, here I leave it at that for today. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.